Hey there, happy Monday everybody! I want to thank those of you who voted in the poll to determine my birthday ice cream flavor. The winner was Cinnamon Toast Crunch, one of my favorite cereals. So I've made this before, a long time ago when I was really first starting to get into ice cream. I had to kind of go back and look at how I did it back then, and we're gonna make a few tweaks, but let's see how this turns out. So we start with our 1 cup of heavy cream and 1 cup of whole milk. I'm going to cut back on the sugar down to a ½ cup today, just because the cereal does have quite a bit of sugar in it. And then I've got 2½ cups roughly of Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal. And we're going to dump that in, our usual pinch of salt, a little squeeze of vanilla bean paste. Now, in this household, we have a rule. It is not a guideline, it is a rule. If a recipe calls for cinnamon, it gets at least 50% more, if not doubled. So I'm throwing in another teaspoon of cinnamon, and over low heat, we're going to bring that up, as we have been lately, until it is just starting to steam. So once this is steaming, we'll go ahead and cover it and let all of this steep in here for probably 15 to 30 minutes. What I really want is to impart all of that cinnamon, sugar, wheat, and rice flavor into the milk, because after that we're going to strain off all of the cereal, and we should be left with a nice Cinnamon Toast Crunch milk. Sort of like when you're at the end of the bowl and you drink the milk. That's the flavor I'm looking for. We have just a few little wisps of steam, so spoon comes out, lid goes on, and we'll be back in 15 minutes. 15 minutes in, let's take off the lid. I expect this to be about like that, extremely mushy. I have a Pyrex bowl with a strainer, and we're going to pour all of this into the bowl. And I want to push on the back of this with my spoon to extract any liquid that might be in there. So we have a bunch of mushy cereal now. Saucepan back over the burner. I'm going to pour everything back into the saucepan. And let's just bring that back up to heat. We're going to go ahead and make this a custard. The first time I made it, I didn't. But you know what? This mixture's already warm, so we might as well, right, add a little bit more richness. I have 4 egg yolks. I'll just go ahead and beat those. And then temper our eggs with that warm cinnamon mixture. And this all goes right back in. And we'll cook this, stirring continuously until it starts to thicken. Okay, I think we're good. Go ahead and kill the heat. I'm going to slide it off the burner. And instead of straining directly into the container that I'm going to refrigerate it in, I'm going to use that same Pyrex because I want to make sure that I have the right amount of total liquid, because I'm sure we lost some to the cereal. And I want to make sure that we have between 3 and 3½ cups total, once I add the extra 1 cup of heavy cream. Add a few egg bits in there. Alright, so looking at this, we're just a touch under 2 cups. So we'll go ahead and get this up to 3 1/4. Go ahead and give that a stir. And since I left the overall sugar content a little bit low, I do want to take a quick taste just to make sure that I don't need to add a little bit more. I think this is okay. And now we have our trusty screw top container that we can use to refrigerate this. I'm not sure how this ice cream is going to go with my birthday cake. I always request a yellow cake with chocolate icing, chocolate frosting. And I'm not sure how Cinnamon Toast Crunch is going to go with that, but we'll find out, I guess. Alright, now that I'm looking at it in this container, because it does have measurements, my Pyrex might be off a little bit because I am just a little shy of 3 cups. So we'll just go ahead and top that off to 3. And we'll throw a lid on it. And go ahead and put this in the fridge to age.
Next morning, the ice creaminator is chilled. I did give it a nice shake just to get any of the cinnamon at the bottom stirred in. We see there's still a little bit in there, but that's okay. And we'll just go ahead and churn this up to our soft serve consistency, and then we'll do some mix-ins. We're pretty close to soft serve right now, so I have another, we'll call it a 3/4 of a cup of Cinnamon Toast Crunch that I have frozen and lightly crushed. And we're just going to pour that in and let it churn for about another 5 minutes, just so everything's thoroughly mixed. And we'll be done.
Alright, I've scooped out what I'm... Whoa! Hey, these spoons are a little brittle. Anyway, I have scooped out what I'm sharing, so I want to make sure that I get a single serve container for myself so that we can do a taste test. As I was scooping it out, I definitely noticed some resistance from the cereal, which is good. That means it's still crunchy, which is what we like, and hopefully it was frozen enough that we can get this frozen hard before any of that cereal starts to get soggy. Just enough to fill a container. And CTC is what we wrote on the lid, and this goes into the freezer to freeze hard. Our Cinnamon Toast Crunch has been freezing overnight. Wow.
Wow.
It is actually very firm. It's kind of surprising. We'll get a nice looking scoop out of it. That looks pretty nice. Actually, like I said, it really scooped well, even though it is quite firm. So even on the spoon here, it is still quite firm, but we'll go ahead and give this a taste. Okay, now I did not get a piece of cereal in there, so I need to definitely find a bite that has one of those. But overall, there's a nice cinnamon flavor. It is not cloyingly sweet. Like I said, there's no texture because I didn't get a piece of cereal. This bite should have a piece. Okay, so the cereal is still crunchy. It has not gotten soggy. That was one of my concerns. Unfounded. But, I mean, texture-wise, it's nice and creamy. It does melt well on the tongue, especially for how firm it was. I'm glad that I added the extra cinnamon because I really think it needed it. I don't know that there would have been enough cinnamon flavor if we had not done that. So that was a good call. Good rule of thumb in this house, like I said. At least 50% extra, if not double. But this is very good. Thank you for those of you who voted in the poll. This will make a good birthday ice cream for me. Like I said, I'm not sure how it's going to go with yellow cake and chocolate icing, but on its own, this is pretty good. I really did want to try making the Black Forest cake ice cream, and that's probably something that's going to be coming in the future one way or another, but I'm probably going to eat this entire bowl. A lot of times when I sample in videos, I'll eat about half and put the other half back for later, but this one is probably all going to get consumed in the next 5 minutes. And as always, I thank you for joining me, and we'll see you again next time. Have a great week. Bye!